I'm Damon Williamson. I'm Vice President of National Sales for Kamps Pallets. I'm thrilled to be here with you guys today at the RPA Learning Center and at Pack Expo. So many great things going on. The crowds, the presentations yesterday, everything was great. I am here to talk with you about what we see as the future of the pallet industry and the things that we're working on. We pride ourselves on being the leader in innovative pallet services, and that's where I want to take this conversation. But where I want to start is just a little bit of history of Kamps. So we've been in business for 50 years. Bernie Kamps, the founder of the company, saw an opportunity 50 years ago of collecting pallets, repairing them, and reissuing them back to the customer. 50 years ago, there really wasn't a lot of pallet recycling going on. It was primarily new manufacture, one way, and then those pallets reached the end of their life. So it's pretty cool for us to be here 50 years later, focusing on reuse and what we call Comprehensive Pallet Life-Cycle Services. And I'll get into all the details of that. Plenty of time for questions, and thanks for attending. So, we've all seen this image, right? The standard pallet out there in the industry, behind every grocery store, every convenience store, you might see these. Pretty common thing. Standard GMA pallet, Grocery Manufacturers Association. But what's it made up of? What are the components? And I don't mean the stringers and the deck boards. What's the cost involved to the customer with this? And it comes in many forms and fashions. There's obviously the raw material. That's the lumber, whether it's hardwood or softwood, and that's the nails, all those components. Beyond that, there's the labor, whether it is hand assembled on an automated machine or it is of a huge size that can't fit within that platform, it has to be hand assembled. A lot of labor cost involved as well. Program management, that's IT, that's finance, and hey, somebody's got to pay me, right? So there's all the program management costs involved in that pallet. Carbon emissions, another big cost. Waste generated. Not every board is good enough. There's all the other materials that come with it, so there's a factor of waste. All those things together go into the cost of a pallet, and that is the product cost, and then there's an environmental impact score that goes with that wooden pallet as well. So let's look at it. What's a traditional life cycle of a pallet? How does a customer see it? So that pallet is manufactured new. It's agreed upon by the customer. What's the specification? What's the quantity? Where is it delivered to? What are the raw materials? We manufacture it. We ship it truckload quantities down to the customer. And then the customer manufactures their own product. They use that pallet. They palletize their load. They inventory it. They ship it out. And it goes to their end user, whether that's a distribution center, a manufacturing point, what have you. And then at some point, that pallet gets destacked from their product. The pallet post-use, they are collected. All of those costs are still realized, sitting there in the pallet, both the hard cost and the environmental costs. And what happens to that pallet then? Well, traditionally, for a wooden pallet, they end up at a local recycler like ourselves or someone else. About 80% of those pallets get there. About 15% of that volume ends up in what we call biomass. It's a valuable byproduct. It can be colored mulch, it can be pellet fuel, biofuel, a number of different things. And then there's only less than 5% of wooden pallets that end up in the landfill. That's a study conducted, widely known by NWPCA. So the product itself is extremely reusable and extremely recyclable. But for the customer, what's the customer see? 100%, the whole investment in a typical life cycle that a customer made of that pallet, it's lost at the end. Once it's shipped downstream, the customer destacks it. For the original person that acquired it, it can be 100% value lost at that point. Well, I'm here to tell you there's better news in today's environment. Those pallets can be comprehensively reused. And at Kamps, we are truly vertically integrated. We start with sawmills. We literally own sawmills, so we can control the raw material coming in at the start of the manufacturing process. After that, there is secondary lumber manufacturing. You've got to take the big logs, break them into small components, and then break them down into the individual components that are used to nail pallets. We do that at multiple locations as well. Then you go to new manufacturing. We invest in the best technology, the most high-speed robotic nailing machinery that is available out in the industry. After that, mold, cleanliness, all those things. Those are big issues for customers like pharma, customers in the food industry. So mold prevention is a big deal, and there's multiple ways to deal with that. One of the best ways is kiln drying, and I don't just mean kiln dried lumber. We have vast kilns to reduce the moisture content of lumber and assembled pallets so that they can be shipped out and you can be guaranteed that they are mold free. And then at the end of that entire cycle, through the complete vertical integration capabilities, is the recycling we just touched on. We have a fleet of over 8,000 trailers to collect multiple sizes of pallets and reuse those, or you reuse the components. All of that wrapped around the Kamps fleet, as I mentioned. Pretty vast fleet of over 8,000 trailers, power units, 63 plants across the country. I don't care if you're in Minneapolis or Miami. Well, we can handle the same process for you. So let's look at it a little bit from maybe your end, from a customer's end. How does this comprehensive pallet services, how does it work? So let's start with brand XYZ, and maybe you're in Wisconsin with one of your plants. You meet with a Kamps expert. You arrive at a specification. The quantities are known, the materials you want, what's your unit load, how are you going to handle it, store it. All that is worked out. We agree to a price, contract signed, purchase order issued. Kamps facility nearby manufactures that pallet, ships it to you. From that point, customer XYZ manufactures their product, palletizes it, ships out to their end users. We collaborate at that point with you on how are we going to get these pallets back to you so you don't have that 100% value loss. Through that collaborative effort, we stage trailers, negotiate and work with you, with your customers to collect all of their pallets, including yours, get those back into our facility, repair and reissue those back to you. Any components from those pallets that are too damaged, we can dismantle those pallets and reuse also those components back in your original pallets. So truly focusing on reuse. And then reissue those pallets back to you with the idea of reuse and recycled first, backfilling your pool with new pallets only when necessary. And that simple model is replicated across the country, site to site, point to point, using our networks of facilities in collaboration with yours. So let's talk a little more about that. Let's break that down a little bit further. In new pallet manufacturing, starts with control of the raw materials, the sawmills, secondary lumber processing, automated nailing machines for precision and for quality. With that, automation and technology are the key. We try to be at the forefront of that, investing in US made nailing machinery and European made, high speed. They have different capabilities, different run rates. We try to buy the best that there is so we can guarantee consistency and the highest quality. Also takes the expertise and integration of our people to guarantee your supply chain and to design the right pallet for your unit load. And vertical integration, true vertical integration is key as well, controlling the sawmills ourselves, and then also buying, sourcing from multiple points. Kiln dried softwood, hardwood from Appalachia, we bring all that into our facilities. It provides stability and security when supply chains are in jeopardy, as they were in COVID and post-COVID. We try to insulate ourselves and our customers from those risks. Pallet recycling is key to the whole thing. Our network of plants from Miami to Minneapolis and all points in between to do the recycling, key to this process as well. The other big key is data. Customers want data in these programs. We try to take this to the next level. We don't just provide our standardized reporting. We can customize this. And I could give you example after example of national customers that said, hey, we like your charts, we like your graphs, and the spreadsheet's fine, but I need it in this format, and I need EDI exchange, and I need it to look like this. And at the end of the month, I need you to net out what we bought from you and the pallet cores, the broken pallets you bought from us. And I need that check at the end of the month. We're selling you more than we're buying. We need that to match exactly. We're able to do that. The other key point to the data here, a couple things, is if you don't have exact data on the inbound, how can you possibly know what your costs are? So we quantify every single pallet that enters our facility, gets categorized and inventoried. And we also make all of this customer facing. If you want real time, real data live facing you at your fingertips, it's available through the Kamps portal. Not only what we buy from you in cores, but what you buy from us. With that, also, we generate an environmental scorecard, quantifies CO2, et cetera. So that is available to you as well. So I mentioned we own our own fleet. We standardize the repair, the process. We have a fanatical commitment at Kamps to safety of our people and of our customers. At facilities, it's customer focused, both our plants, and we have a robust network of partner pallet companies that are like minded. They operate within our guidelines, integrated with our software, um, and it gives us a robust nationwide capability. I mentioned at the end of life, those pallets, ideally we repair those, get them back to a customer, and that's at their highest value use. Once they reach the point where that can't happen, we can tear those down and harvest the components. And then after that, at some point, it reaches end of life. We manufacture high value products at various locations across the country. Colored mulch, which we sell in bulk. Pellet fuel burns very clean, produces low ash, available at retail under the Easy Heat brand. And then biofuel, fueling things like greenhouses, municipalities. So that's the end of life products. Again, keep it out of the landfill, reuse, highest value as much as possible. So within all this, we don't outsource. We maintain for control and security. Our HR and safety department, that's in-house. Robust IT team, our own programmers. We're not just buying IT off the shelf, we're customizing it to fit our network, our customers. Strategic corporate purchasing, finance and accounting, all in-house. Even corporate manufacturing, we actually design and manufacture some of our own machinery. There's great stuff on the market, but we think we found a better way. We've been recycling pallets for 50 years, so we do some of our own design there as well. And our CSR committee, our customer service rep committee, the quote that reminds me of is Steve Jobs once said, "We don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do." And that's what we get at with that. Those folks are customer facing. They're interacting every day. They tell us often, here's the better way to do it, and we listen. So what's it mean to you? What's it mean to a customer? It means stability in your supply chain, in your suppliers. It means the security that will be there for you. And it means that the service and the flexibility to adjust to your needs, not just ours. So let me give you a couple of examples of how this in real life has worked for us. So headquartered in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with major facilities in Detroit, you can imagine with the Motor City, we're a little bit tied to the automobile industry in that part of the country. So a couple of our automotive customers came to us and they had a problem. Their situation was they were buying about 90% new pallets, and it was across a vast network of tier one suppliers, manufacturing facilities of their own, parts distribution, 70 plus sites, and it was extremely fragmented. Who was doing the new pallets? Who was doing the recycling? So they wanted a solution. They didn't want a quote. So we've moved them through collaboration into one uniform Kamps program. And the term that they use is now we have one hand to shake. And I love that. So we comprehensively manage coast to coast their program. We have moved them from buying 90% new pallets. We now have them using 90% recycled and reused pallets across all of their supply points, and it is integrating into their tier one suppliers now as well. What does that mean? We're at an interesting point today where we've talked about for many years the environmental impacts. Now we're here today talking about reuse, but we're at a very interesting point today of the nexus where the economics work and fit the reuse and the environmental benefits. For these customers combined, last year we saved them $4 million. That's real money, right? What else does it mean? Through the data, complete visibility into their programs. They know where the pallets are coming from and they know where they're going. The carbon avoidance, very significant to them, and the flexibility to scale and involve their new products and their tier one suppliers. Another example, totally different industry, agricultural products. Customer that we're dealing with buying 13 tractor trailer loads a week of new pallets. And I don't mean inexpensive pallets. I mean, heavy duty, 4-stringer, high value, corner rounded, every bit of customization that you can imagine. Very expensive pallets, 5 different sizes, 5 different SKUs. They were also bringing these back in, attempting to do a repair and reuse program themselves. Well, I can tell you that wasn't their core competency. They were good at making agricultural products. They weren't great at repairing pallets. So they came to us and said, hey, can you help us? Yeah, we can help you. We redesigned, got them down to 2 SKUs instead of 5. We utilized our network. In particular, we have 2 of our largest plants bringing in all of their pallets, doing repair and return and reissuing back to them. We're actually utilizing our staff instead of theirs, not just do the repair. We're managing their inventory live. It's visible to them what's repaired and available when, and that takes precedent and priority versus selling them new. At the end of the day, last year, 2.6 million in savings to that one agricultural company. I mean, that is real dollars to their bottom line. And it's the type of partnership that we are looking for and are very proud of. So they also came to us and said, you know what? You're better at repairing pallets than we are. We're good at making agricultural products. Their quality improved as well. Complete transparency, visibility into their program via the Kamps customer-facing portal. Carbon avoidance. So a couple examples there. Where else are we doing this at? We all think of pallet recycling or reuse just in CPG, consumer packaged goods. Well, that was true at one point, but today we're executing this type of program in the steel and aluminum, the metals industry. Huge oversized pallets for coils of metal, 144-inch, 60-inch wide for sheets of metal. We're doing the same thing today. We're building new pallets, utilizing some recycled components to go into those pallets, but we're also collecting from their facilities and their customers, bringing them back in, repairing and reissuing to them. I touched on automotive, the 2 examples that we have there. We've got a couple others that we're working with, and their programs are in their infancy. We just haven't tapped yet fully the potential for them, but we will. Agricultural products, paint and coatings, big examples. So we do on-site services for one of the biggest big box retailers in the country. Kamps labor, Kamps trucks, our Ford trucks, etc., within their facilities. We have been able to identify for a paint and coatings industry their particular spec pallet. It's easily identifiable. We collect those, repair those at our facility, and issue back to them. And they are not having to buy new pallets entirely. And so we are elaborating on that program and soon believe that we will have them fully on board and doing that nationwide. Food and beverage industry, especially beverage containers, entirely different thing. Entirely different spec. Block pallets, 56 by 44. They come with a picture frame top, tier sheets like cardboard that goes in between each layer of empty beverage containers. We're executing that for multiple customers across the country, collecting their pallets from their end users, getting them repaired, sometimes washed and back to them. You can't have glass going back in if something was broken. Entirely different industry, but we have one expert that works nationwide, focuses on this, does a fantastic job. I think she's forgotten more about that particular industry than I'll ever know. So what's the future? Where else does it go? It's bright. Petrochemical, a lot of block pallets. You'll see those referred to as CP. That's ongoing. We're negotiating there and see tremendous potential. Packaging industry, all different shapes and sizes of corrugate. We see potential there, and truly anything that is non-standard that once maybe only had that linear one-way use, we see the opportunity now through our network and the collaborative efforts to capture those pallets and get them back. With that, there was some research. This is really recent. I just read this in Pallet Profile, and so we did a little bit digging. This is a survey that Modern Materials Handling has been doing for about the last 4 years, and it shows trends in pallet size usage. That standard size grocery industry pallet, over since 2021, I think was the first year, use of that and its prevalence in the market, while still dominant, it is in retreat a little bit. And what's it being replaced with? 42 by 42, pretty common in paint and coatings, can work for a super sack. You see that increasing. 48 by 48 square, very common for 55-gallon barrels. We're seeing increase in that, and some other sizes as well. So I think the message with that is that the pallet industry is changing. the ability to reuse, recycle, capture pallets, get them back to customers. I think that's the forefront, and that's where we're trying to take it. And we see that as a bright opportunity across many industries. If you have additional questions, I'd love to take some questions, see if I can answer them for you. If you would, please come by our booth. We're directly behind you. If you'd like to scan the QR code there, you'll hit directly on our website and be able to fill out just a couple of questions and be directly in contact with one of our experts. Yes.
What type of technologies are you using to track and trace these pallets as they are going through the supply chain to make sure that they're returned for that reuse and remanufacturing?
Yeah, so today, boy, the RFID stuff, that's I think what everybody is working towards. There's some options for that. Currently, today, the biggest way that we found success doing it is direct collaboration with customers, finding not just what they're buying, but working with them downstream and often within their network. They're vertically integrated within their supply chains, whether it's for parts distribution or secondary processing. We found that is the immediate and best way to capture the biggest quantity of pallets back.